My name is Yyngwie Malmsteen, not to be confused with all other Malmsteens. Yyngwie Malmsteen.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, everybody knows one of the main characters in your way of playing guitar is the speed. There's a lot of other things, but the speed is the first thing that people used to note. How did you start developing this crazy speed you have to play?
Well, I mean, it's really not speed for speed's sake, you know, because if you would slow down the notes that I play, they will still constitute a melody.
Mm-hmm.
So if it were like something fast like that, it's still a melody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference from, I think. Okay, so I took a lot from classical music, like Baroque classical music, you know, and in that style of music, there are some passages that are, you know, more difficult to play, and some are slower, adagio, you know. So it's not only fast all the time, you know. I mean, it's definitely not. But I always made sure that everything I play is melodic, you know. So it doesn't matter if it's fast or slow, as long as it's got melody.
Of course. Jimi Hendrix had a main role in your decision to start to play guitar. And there's something funny. I've heard somewhere you were watching TV in Sweden or something like that. Could you please tell us something about it?
Yes. I was the youngest child in my family, and my older siblings were all musicians. They were classically trained, and piano and violin and everything. So my 4th birthday, they gave me a violin. My 5th birthday, they gave me a guitar. My 6th birthday, they gave me a trumpet. And they tried to get me to play instruments. I didn't want to do it. And when I was 7 years old, I saw Jimi Hendrix smash up and burn a guitar. I was only 7 years old. And I said, wow, this is cool. I got a guitar. I want to do that. So I started playing that same day. It was September 18th, 1970, the day he died. So I wasn't musically influenced by Jimi Hendrix. I saw that scene from Monterey Pop, and I was going, wow. Yeah, you got to remember, in Sweden back in those days, there was only one TV channel. Yeah, it was very, very primitive, you know. And so there was obviously no internet, obviously. There was no radio, there was nothing, no video cassettes, nothing. There was nothing to draw anything from. Everything was a mystery, you know. So, but since my all the people, my uncles are opera singers, and my mother's a singer, everybody is musically inclined. I learned theory very early on. I learned theory, and I just absorbed music, and of course I wanted to play rock and roll. But like I said, I was just I was a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
7 years old, you know. And so I started really early, and I became very advanced at a very early age. So that's how the blues became little. To me, I felt limited by the blues, even though I love the blues, don't get me wrong. So I started incorporating harmonic minors and diminished, and those type of things. And like I said, there was nothing to interfere with my musical journey, so to speak. All I would do all day, every day, and all night, that was to play music. That's all I did.
You know, when I started to read things about you many years ago, I never realized, it took me years to know that a lot of those things I read about you, they were talking about a kid. I didn't know that. I thought, for example, that time when you cheated your friends with, I think it was made in Japan, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were
9 years old. I was 9 years old.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was kind of a freak. You know, I was like a little freak. You know, like a little kid running around with a guitar case and just going fucking crazy all the time. It was nutty. And you know, back then Sweden was, I don't know if it's still the same. I've lived there for 40 years, but it was very strict and very kind of socialistic almost. The thought pattern. It was never like, oh, you want to be an artist, you want to be a musician, oh great. No, it was like, no, you cannot do that, you know. So it was a lot of pushback on me, because all I would do was do what I did. I played neoclassical heavy metal in 1976.
Totally.
There was no one in the world that did that. No one.
No.
And I what I did was that I when I started, I was in love with the Marshall stacks and the double bass drums and the Smart machines, and I never want to change that. But I thought the power, the chords and the notes in rock and roll was a little bit limited. So I started putting in all this classical influences in this heavy metal.
Yeah.
And I did this. I had a band called Powerhouse from 1978, 77, somewhere around there. And this riff, Rising Force, that's from that era. I was only a little kid. Yes.
It's incredible. You were 13.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
But that's when I discovered Paganini too. And when I heard of all these arpeggios and stuff, I don't know if you can hear that, but I never heard that on the guitar. And then people say, you can't play that on the guitar. That's a violin technique. Yeah. I know, but that's what I want to do.
Because a main influence is Paganini. On the other side, I've read somewhere you were a great fan of ELP.
Yes,
of course.
Absolutely. Oh,
Paganini is playing violin, and ELP almost doesn't have a guitar. And and how does your head work to be influenced by musicians that are not playing guitar?
That's the whole point. That's a great question. That's the whole point. People get so boxed in like, oh, it's guitar, it's guitar. No, it's a musical instrument. It's a musical instrument. The classical guitar, to me, sounded like a piano. It was very like, whereas the violin is like, you know, it's like a, you know, vibrato. It's like a voice, and that to me was more, you could express yourself more that way. But one of my favorite albums was ELP, Pictures as an Exhibition with Mussorgsky, you know. Yeah. And I love Tarkus. Really good. Yeah, I was big time into them. But I like the early Genesis too. Early Genesis, Selling It by the Pound. Gabriel. Yes. Trespass, Selling It by the Pound, Nursery Crime. Those albums didn't have much guitar, but the melodies and the chord progressions with the inverted chords, suspended, diminished. I was going, wow, you know.
Well, I guess maybe there are some people who doesn't know this this little cheat you had your friends with made in Japan. Could you please tell them? Okay, and how old were you when you did that?
So here's the thing. My uncle was a research and development department at Philips. Okay, and we would have color TVs and remote controls and the best stereos before everybody else, because he would bring us, hey, take this. And so I realized when I took Made in Japan from the vinyl LP and recorded to a cassette, that the way the album was mixed, guitar was hard left, and John Lord is hard right. I mean, you can still hear a little bit of but if you listen to the album, I mean, it's hard pan, you know. So if I would take from the vinyl record, put it to the cassette, but instead of putting the left channel from the vinyl, put a microphone in the left channel and put the guitar on, and try to mix it level-wise, and I would do that, you know, and play with people. But I was a little kid. I was like, hey, listen to this. Yeah, it's made in Japan. Yeah. No, it's not. And they would go, man, you're crazy.
How old were you?
That 9. I was 9.
No, it's incredible. And then you started to form bands. At some point, I guess
Yeah,
you
well, I
realize
mean,
you need people around you.
I would say I would use the term band very carefully, because even back when I wasn't paying people, I was the undisputed leader, undisputed dictator, ruling with an iron fist. And I would have the drummer and the bass player have normal jobs, but not me. I would say, you be here at 12 noon. Well, I gotta work. No, you be here at 12 noon or you're fired. I didn't even pay them. and I would write everything, and I would play lead guitar and do lead vocals, and that was it. And I have a bass player and a drummer. But I remember when I was in second grade, I was 9 or 10.
10, yeah.
I went to there was a mess hall where you eat the food. A big hall. It's a little stage.
Yeah,
I saw that, and I went to one of the kids in my class and said, "Hey, we're doing a gig on Saturday. Now on Friday, not Saturday, Friday." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, you gotta play drums." "I don't play drums." "I show you how to play drums. I'm a drummer too." "I don't have any drums." He goes, "Don't worry about it. I got a drum kit. You gotta play drums." And lo and behold, that Friday afternoon we play. And that's how I've always been, you know. I've always been like that.
You know what I can't even imagine. How do you talk? What do you say to a 10 years kid when you try to explain what you would like to do? Because they were not like you, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know exactly how to explain this, but I never had a doubt in my mind what I was going to do. There was no ever any plan B, nothing. There was no doubt. And saying that, coming from a socialist country where you're not allowed to be a musician, basically, and playing the kind of music I did was extremely, you know, the more they told me I couldn't do it, the more I said, "Oh, yeah, watch me." So when I got a chance to leave, I left very happily. But I was always baffled when kids, that people ask them, "What do you want to do?" And they say, "Oh, I don't know. I'm going to go to college." "Okay, what are you going to study?" "Well, I'm going to study." They will do some generic, you know, generic, not, "I'm going to study brain surgery." They never said that, you know. Whereas I was, "What are you going to do?" "Well, I'm already doing it. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to have a double bass drum set and a smoke machine and blow your mind." That's what my job is going to be.
It's incredible. And you said you don't practice. Just the what people imagine when they say practice. You don't do that.
Practice is repetition. And I don't do that. I play, you know, to keep fluid, and in front of the TV, I always have the guitar. I always sit with the guitar, and if my dog doesn't let me, my dog doesn't let me use my guitar sometimes. But anyways, but I play, but I don't practice in a sense where you get like the scales and stuff like that. I mean, you know, no, I never did that.
You play?
Yes.
Always electric guitar?
No. I use acoustics. Yes, I could use acoustics too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And how demanding are you with yourself and when the musicians around you?
Well, if you imagine the most strict, the most almost, I wouldn't say evil, but extremely strict and demanding, like head teacher. You know, you want to be you play the Rachmaninoff, for instance, and you play one single thing wrong. Whoa! So that's how I'm on myself. That's how I'm on myself. I'm not as strict on the other musicians as on myself, but I'm, I want it to be right. I demand not perfection, but I demand they have to be doing it proper. They can't be slacking off. But I'm much more demanding on myself, for sure. Yes.
Great. I remember G3 when you were there. It was incredible for me. What kind of memories do you have of that time?
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It was great.
Because people used to say Malmsteen doesn't want to share on stage with nobody. That shows were historic, we could say. And you look so happy.
But I also do the Generation X. When I with Vi and Zach and Nuno and Tosin, we do all this stuff. We do tours around it. That's I've done a lot of that. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, talking Vi, he said that he can play just like you. What do you think when a guitar player like Steve Vai says he can't do what you do?
Well, one thing I love with Steve is that Steve is unique. And that says more than anything to me. To be able to play like someone else is really not worth anything. Because so what? It's like, hey, you know what? I can read this Stephen King book. Oh yeah? Yeah, I can read this Stephen. Yeah, but could you write one? Can you write Stephen King book? No. That's a big difference. To be able to mechanically reproduce something on an instrument is obviously it's gonna take a lot of work, but it's not really worth anything. You have to bring unique stamp to what you do. You gotta present something that is here. Wow, there is a so-and-so,
Yeah, of course.
Because it's not, people are so, they go like this, they think like this, oh, guitar, look, I can play this lick and that lick, whatever. Yeah, but it's not only, the guitar is great, obviously we know that. But it's music, and in composition and in performance and everything like that, you have to, I'm not saying you have to. What I'm saying is the amazing thing that some people do is that they bring a uniqueness that is instantly recognizable. I know when it's Steve Vai. No one sounds like him.
Yeah.
So that to me is worth, and I love the guy. He's great.
Great. While talking to you, I was thinking that you're the kind of musician who seems to see the whole picture. I know some guitar player, for example, that if you ask him, I don't know, maybe some drums part, they don't know. He said, I don't know what the drummer does. Just ask him. It seems that you have the whole picture in your head.
A very astute observation, brother. Observation. I am very much like a classical composer where I orchestrate everything. The bass part, the drum part, the keyboard part, the vocal melody, you name it. Even down to the production, even down to the snare sound, even down to that I do all of that. It's to me, it's like writing a book or painting a painting. You can't I paint this part of painting, and I call somebody, hey, dude, can you come over and paint this part of painting for me? No, I paint the whole painting,
Yeah.
like Da Vinci.
I get. Well, you will be playing in Argentina just a couple of weeks, October 19th, I guess.
Yes.
Well, would you like to invite people to go to see you, and why should they go to see Malmsteen right now in October?
Well, I can't think of any reason why not. You know, I mean, it is definitely it's gonna be an experience that is different from other experiences, and I'm not gonna cut any corners. I'm gonna give 200%, 200%, and it's gonna be really, really amazing. I hope everybody turns up.
I don't know if I can say the right way this question, but how do you feel being such an unique guy in the world? You know that there's no one guitar player like you. How is it? You wake up in the morning, and what do you think?
To be honest, I don't really think like that. You know, I mean, I obviously appreciate everybody praising, you know, what I do, but it's also a lot of people saying bad things about what I do. So what I've learned really early on is that the best thing is to keep a level-headed. You gotta like kind of like know that you have to produce to the level that you expect from yourself first, and you have to sort of like blow yourself away. You gotta sort of impress yourself, which is almost impossible. Yeah. And if I do that and other people like it too, it's a perfect combination. But let's say I did something I wasn't that crazy about, and people go, "Oh, that's great." I said, "No, it's not great," or vice versa. I do something I think is amazing, and some people go, "Ah, that's not great." Then, so I don't really think in those terms. I'm more of a, I wouldn't say introvert, but I would say I'm more of an inner vision of what I expect from myself, and I wouldn't take any sort of praise from somebody as oh, that's cool. Now I don't have to worry about nothing. You know. I'm extremely critical of my own work and every show I do. I give everything I got, and every time I make an album, I give everything I got. You know, I mean, so. But you made the Rising Force 1984. You don't have to worry about anything. Well, that was 1984. This is today's what matters. You know what I mean? So I don't think in those terms. I think more of like what can I do today that's gonna be amazing or you know, exciting. You know, that's kind of the thing I think.
You know, I hope you get me right, but you must know that so many people talks about you and you react and things like that, and I don't know how should I expect you to react like a normal guy. You're not a normal guy. There's no people in the world thinking the way you do, working the way you do, with the skills you have. You're not a normal guy. I'm talking, of course, in a good way. I can't expect you to react just like my neighbor who's, I don't know, playing with his dog all day. You're not. You're an amazing musician.
Thank you.
It's incredible, on the top of the world, of the musician world, and that's something totally out of focus. We can't even imagine how is it to be you.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's very nice. I play with my dog too.
Yeah, but not all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. It was
you.
an honor to talk to you, and thank you again for the time. And just ask you two things. I need you to say hey, hello, wherever you want to say, to headbangers, readers.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Yyngwie Malmsteen. I'm saying hi to all the readers of Headbangers Latinoamerica, and I'm coming down there now. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, man. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Yeah, same to you.
Wish you a good trip when you go out there to play.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man. It's a pleasure.
See ya. Bye.